Good afternoon. My name is Tom Scarta. Welcome to the Franchise Academy. This is everything you ever wanted to know about franchising, the good, the bad, and the ugly, how to franchise your business, how to buy a business, everything that you need to know to be a successful franchise owner. I am the author of Franchise Savvy. I'm also the author of the Franchise Academy online series on how to buy a franchise. Check that out on my website. It's thefranchiseacademy.com. All the old episodes of the Franchise Academy podcast are there as well. So check it out, thefranchiseacademy.com. I'm excited to bring somebody in today for this podcast that actually is from the outside world of franchising. So Ian Bauer he was a culinary guy, and he got an idea and transformed himself into digital media. He founded a company called Graphic Rhythm. So it's a graphic design company, really has nothing to do with food. So he made a total transformation. I want to talk a little bit about that. And I want to talk about why companies need a great graphic person or go-to or whatever you want to call it in order to do great work, because it is kind of your image out there and you need to do it well. So I want to invite in Ian. Are you there, Ian?
Yep, I'm here. Thanks for having me.
Hey, this is great. Just so good to meet you. And I just want to hear about your story. So you wanted to be a chef at one point in your life. When did you decide you wanted to be a chef?
That's kind of a funny story. Basically, when I was around 14 or 15 years old, my mom was like, "Hey, just so you know, there's absolutely no money for you to go to college. So if if you want to go to college, you're going to have to get a scholarship." And so I was like, "All right." Well, I kind of took her seriously on it. I don't know whether she intended it to be serious or not, but I did get I decided that I really liked cooking, and my family was in the restaurant business, so
Okay.
I basically just decided to do that, and I got a full scholarship to culinary school. So that was through a competition. I went all in on it. So there's something I knew I wanted to do from a teenager.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Are you one that kind of glues yourself to the TV and watches a lot of those cooking competition shows and things like that?
No, they drive me nuts.
Yeah, me too.
There's a couple I'll watch, but most of them I think are stupid.
Yeah, I agree. And it's funny. My wife has been on several reality shows, never a cooking one, but they've been in my house filming and all sorts of stuff. She was on with Tim Gunn for a while. They did an episode on my wife with a design makeover and all that. And it was just so fabricated. It has nothing, reality TV has nothing to do with reality. And once you realize that, it's like, ugh, what am I doing? Except for wasting my time. But anyway, so really, really interesting stuff. I was on Miami Ink and got a tattoo on there, which actually never appeared on the show. So there's a lot of great tattoo from oh my God, Jesse. I'm blanking out, but I just never made the air, and I don't know why. But anyway, so you made a transformation. So how long were you a chef before you decided to make a transition?
Oh, like basically my entire career. I quit my job as an executive chef in 2017. So, what is that? 4 years ago or so.
Mm-hmm. And so why design? Why graphics?
Well, so I didn't actually choose design per se. My story here is that I always knew that I was going to own my own business and that I was going to go out on my own. Like my whole life, I've just had a very strong objection to authority, I guess. And so I always knew it was going to happen. I always thought that it was going to be a restaurant, though.
Mm-hmm.
And in my 20s, I used to start costing out how much it would cost to open a restaurant and stuff like that, and kind of write business plans and basically lay the groundwork. But of course, it never really took off. So in and around 2014 or so, I was actually just doing internet research on how people travel for free. I always thought that was a really cool concept. I love travel, and I've always wanted to just travel everywhere, right? And so I started looking like, how do people travel for free? And this idea of Chase rewards points came up, and so I was like, okay, so how do you get those? And long story short, it led me down this rabbit hole that ended up in this world of Amazon FBA and third party selling on Amazon. And I was actually able to build a business doing that, like a wholesale business doing that, to the point where in 2017, I was able to just quit my job. So that was really cool. And one of the neat things about that was I've always loved art and design, and I've always had an appreciation for it. I've tried to be a designer or an artist at various points. It never really took. But at the very first minute that I could possibly hire a designer for that business, I did. And something kind of happened there, which was that other peers in my network, other business owners, they were frustrated trying to get the designs that they needed. Yes. And they saw that I was having success doing it. And so they would say to me, basically, hey, can I borrow your graphic designer? And then it's basically the rest is history. I saw that as an opportunity to provide a lot of value to the network of business owners I was in. So that's what I decided to do. And so Graphic Rhythm was founded.
That's amazing. And it's a cool little niche, and you're exactly right. And I mean, even for myself, I'm a solopreneur. I'm a franchise consultant by day, podcast person by night, but just really, I just need a logo. I need to do some kind of graphic for a newsletter blast. And it's like, and I'm trying to do it myself. And so a business owner needs a go-to guy, a graphic guy. So you could freelance for different companies. Like if I own, or just what I do now, like I just have the Franchise Academy, and I'm talking to people about franchising, and I'm doing all sorts of graphic things. So could I hire like your agency or somebody from your agency? Is that how it works?
Well, so the way that we work is, first of all, we consider ourselves kind of like a full stack or full circle agency. And what that means is that we really try and just be the last designer you ever need. Whatever you happen to be into, whatever you need, we want to be able to help you get it designed. But for businesses, primarily the way that they work with us is through a monthly subscription. And so you could think of it like a retainer almost. But it's just a monthly subscription. And then we have our client portal where you log in and you say, hey, this is the design I need. Here's the specs. Here's the brand information. Whatever you've got, you send it to us. And then a couple of days, a designer on our team would send it back to you.
Amazing. So before we go any further, what is that website?
So it's graphicrhythm.com.
That's pretty easy. Yep. Graphicrhythm.com. You can find that on the franchiseacademy.com. More information there about Ian and everything that he's doing. So to make the transition, was it a plan? Did you say, hey, I'm going to stop cooking and I'm going to start doing graphic design on, August 1st? I mean, was it like that, or was it just like a gradual, like, oh, we'll do a little bit, and and then all of a sudden it morphed into this other kind of animal, if you will?
Well, so as far as like getting out on my own, and starting my own business, it was definitely gradual. And basically what I would do is on nights and weekends that I wasn't working, I was my last post was as a executive chef of a university. So I actually had some nights and weekends free, unlike my restaurant brethren. So on my nights and weekends, I would build this business and work on this business and build it up and build it up and build it up. And then what actually happened was in 2017, my job got threatened. We were a contractor inside of a university, and basically the university was threatening to throw the contract out. And, there was basically a meeting that all the managers had, which was like, hey, just so you know, like you could lose your job here soon. And that was like the first time in my entire life that I had my job threatened. I have never been fired. I have never been laid off. I'd always been like really hardworking and was fortunate to be able to avoid that. And I was like, I'm out. Like that was it. Like that little bit, I was like, I went home to my wife and I said, hey, my business is big enough to support me. We've got a little bit of savings. I won't take a paycheck out of it for a minute, and then, we'll be off. And so that's what I did. So.
Fantastic. So just for the listeners that are not aware, what is Amazon like secondary sales? I forgot what you called it.
Yeah, Amazon FBA. FBA stands for Fulfillment by Amazon. So that's basically 60% of the stuff that you could buy on Amazon is not sold by Amazon. It's actually sold by third-party sellers. Even if it says Prime, that little Prime badge doesn't mean it's sold by Amazon. And so there's a huge industry right now where you can buy stuff from, brands and then sell it on Amazon. And that's exactly what I was doing, so, and there's value that you provide in that chain, but more or less that's the idea is you're a retailer on Amazon, and that's how I got my start.
So you don't have to sell culinary products or graphic design per se on Amazon, but it could be anything that you could find that you think somebody would want to buy, right?
Yeah, exactly. So the model is basically you find brands and you contact them and you say, hey, I want to open up a wholesale account. And so you buy a pallet of these widgets and then you sell them on Amazon for a profit. And what's interesting there too is there's kind of like this circle of events that kind of spun off from that. So then Graphic Rhythm, because I was so well connected inside of that community with Graphic Rhythm, we became a graphic designer for e-commerce and Amazon, and so a huge part of our current client base is Amazon sellers that are doing this. They need to optimize their Amazon listings. They need photography, they need design, even companies that build their own brands. We're doing like packaging designs and logos and visual identity. So that's all incorporated. And then like to go an even deeper level, we're now becoming an Amazon preferred partner. So if you are an Amazon seller, there's like a marketplace where you can go and you can hire Graphic Rhythm directly through Amazon. So it's really like this awesome full circle kind of thing where we're able to, keep utilizing that connection to Amazon to grow both businesses really.
That's really fantastic. And I'm always interested in that kind of stuff. And I always feel like, in today's day, you could make money. There's no reason to say I can't make any money with all this online stuff and help from people like you, without spending much money to get started. You could get going really, really quickly. So that was going to be my next question is, do you need money to make this kind of transition where you went and started this graphic company?
So to start a business like Graphic Rhythm, it depends on you yourself and what skill you have. I'm not a graphic designer. I'm absolutely not a graphic designer. So in order for me to start a business like this, I needed to hire graphic designers. And so, by working with us as an agency, it's different, and there's more value that we're able to provide than working with a freelancer. You could go out there and you could find a freelancer to do graphic design, but an agency is going to be able to bring certain things that a freelancer can't: a bigger diversity of skill sets, more consistency in our systems and processes, and just more flexibility overall. And so I would say you do need, if you're not the talent, then you're going to need a little bit of money to get started so that you can basically do this. And it's not much different than marketing agencies, digital marketing agencies. Oh. They often will outsource or third party contract the things that they do. So if they're going to do Facebook advertising for you, they'll actually just contract that out to somebody, and what they're doing is they're managing the relationship. They're making sure everything's correct and on top of things and on schedule. So sure. Yeah, so a little bit of money, yes, I would say.
Okay. And that's fair. I get it. So do you, because you made a distinction between a freelancer and an agency, because I was going to say, couldn't I just go to Fiverr or something like that and get a design made? And so what's your answer to that? I think I know what it is, but.
Well, I mean, the answer is, yeah, definitely. You could do that. If you have one single one-off project and you just want to, or if you particularly love the art style of a particular designer or an artist, then absolutely you should do that. On the other hand, if you have a consistent need for design, then you might want to consider an agency. And the reason is because your Fiverr graphic designer is probably going to be really good at a narrow set of skills. Maybe they aren't an illustrator. Maybe they don't know how to do motion graphics. Maybe they aren't very good at logo design,
Mm-hmm.
So when you have an agency, we have each of those roles. We have specialists in each of those roles on our team. So you can come to us and you can have your logo. And this is a very common path that some of our clients take. They come to us for a logo and visual identity. And so we have a logo and visual identity team that does that, right?
That's cool.
And then you're done with that. And now I need a packaging design. Well, we have one guy who just spends all day long designing packaging, and now you need your website design. Well, we have a whole team that just does website design. And so by having access to a broader range of skills, you're going to be better off. Now, if you just did a freelancer for all that, you would have to go find a freelancer for each one of those things, which means wading through listings and so on and so forth. And that could be a little frustrating.
So, Ian, someone is out there listening and they want to make a change in their life. They don't know what to do, where to start. Well, what would be your advice to that person?
Well, so I would say that, definitely start, and whatever start means in the kind of thing that you're looking at, and don't get too hung up in the, like, I'm educating myself and that's starting, because it's not, in my opinion. It's really about doing. So what little thing can you do to get started? And, basically what you're looking for is proof that it works just a little bit. I always think that it's the most empowering thing in the world when you can make your first $1, or your first $10 or your first $100 in a venture, because it's so motivating. You're like, yes, let's do that more. Let's do that 100 times more. So the faster you can get to that first little bit of money, that little kind of proof that this is something real, then the better it's going to be and the more motivating it's going to be.
That's awesome. Great advice. And I would give that same kind of advice myself. And you're right. Taking a class about getting started is not getting started. It's all about taking massive action, in my opinion. And so you just got to make it happen. And what's the funny thing is that I found in my life is when you take a chance and you start, the whole universe comes behind you to help you, and doors open and you meet people that you would have never met before. They just come in your way. They come in your path and they help you to go to the next level with your endeavor, whatever it might be. And that's, when you're waiting around for the perfect moment, it will never, ever happen. And so that's a great piece of advice. What other advice would you have for a business owner right now that feels like they need a graphic designer? Should they hire somebody in-house, or is it better to have an agency?
Well, so an in-house graphic designer is actually really, really great. Obviously we benefit from that being a design agency. But the in-house graphic designer has basically all the same downsides that a freelancer has, plus they're more expensive. So my suggestion is, unless you can hire at least a couple of designers in-house so that you can really cover your bases and make sure that you've got everything, all the skills you need, I would consider outsourcing it to an agency like ours, because it's going to save you a bunch of money. We're slower than an in-house designer, right? You're not going to be able to burst into our office and say, hey, I need this by the end of today, and can you get that done for me? That's just not how the model works. So we're going to be slower than an in-house designer, but you're still going to be able to get your deliverables back in a day or two. And
Right.
So, and you're also going to be able to get into this for, in our case, a minimum of $150 a month, which is, compared to a $40,000 salary for a graphic designer, that's a pretty good deal.
Yeah, it's a great deal. And it's interesting because it's you might have a business that's just kind of going, and you need a logo. Okay, that's great. But then you get invited to do, the local Chamber of Commerce street fair. Now you need a 6-foot banner to hang from your easy up, tent, and so now you got to get that done. And now you need brochures to give out. And so those are all different specialties that a graphic designer would be capable of doing. But you'd have to freelance each one of those projects where they could just give it to you and you could just take care of it, right?
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And the other neat thing about it is, and this is for those do-it-yourselfers out there, by having a professional designer creating this collateral for you, you're going to have a more consistent look across all the things you're doing. And consistency equals confidence, and confidence equals conversions and sales.
Mm-hmm.
So I always really advocate for having a professional designer make sure that you look good. So just like you're going to have a nice looking suit or dress or outfit or whatever for an interview or a meeting or a sales pitch or so on and so forth, you want to have that same feeling for the design collateral associated with you.
That's so awesome. So, Ian, I appreciate you coming on. This is such valuable information. And even for franchise owners that need a little bit of help locally for their particular unit, or for an entire franchise company, you could really be a great resource for them. So I appreciate you coming on. Tell the audience how to get in contact with you.
Yeah, so you could just go to graphicrhythm.com. You can feel free to schedule a call with us there or reach out on our chat.
That's awesome. So Ian, Graphic Rhythm Design, I appreciate you coming on, and good luck, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Thank you.